Give yourself a clear time frame. John Francis woke up on his 27th birthday in 1973 and decided not to speak for the day. He found he liked not talking, so extended his vow of silence for a year. Francis, an environmental activist, suggests starting with 4 days, knowing you can always opt to go longer. In the end, he didn't speak for 17 years. I kept feeling I had more to explore, he says. Take a break from texting, emailing or participating in social media, or at least minimize your digital output. A big part of being silent is being the recipient, not the broadcaster, Francis says. Don't worry if you slip up. A couple of times, he inadvertently said something, including "excuse me" after bumping into a woman in a grocery store. Once, after 10 years of silence, Francis gave himself an hour to call his worried parents before he set off alone to walk across the United States, a mute, African-American man with a banjo. Your silence should be an experience, not a contest. Don't make it a gimmick, he says. Ideally, your first foray will be in a retreat setting where you might spend time alone in nature. But many people can't do that, Francis says. To be silent in your day-to-day life, you need to give those around you notice. Talk to your family and coworkers and see if you can work out logistics ahead of time. Francis learned some sign language over those 17 years, but also got quite good at miming and using nonverbal cues if he needed to communicate. Smile a lot, he says, and wave. He kept a pen and journal handy in case he needed to write something down for someone. Expect some measure of personal transformation. It helped me find myself, says Francis, who within a few silent weeks began to realize that previously he only ever listened to people long enough to start formulating what he was going to say next, but, he says, his mind didn't need to be filled up with endless chatter. An intricate, hitherto undiscovered soundscape was all around him. You're going to hear more if you're not talking, he says.